Welcome back to Thru the Ringer. I'm your host, Tate Frazier, and joining us on Super Bowl 59 week, he is here, not in person, but, you know, in our presence, which is what matters. Cousin Sal. Sal, good to see you, man.
Tate, I'm coming to you from New Orleans. Don't let the backdrop that you see every week on Sunday night from Guess the Lines fool you. I am in New Orleans on Radio Row, but I was, lucky for you, I was able to open up 30 minutes to discuss what a glorious week ahead we have.
I did want to ask before we get into, my favorite game, the first Tate, all the many things we have to get to. Pro Bowl, Sal, how much did you watch of the Pro Bowl? Were you locked in? Were you excited about the Drake May to Jamar Chase touchdown pass that everyone's saying looks like the future of the Patriots offense? Like, how much did you take in?
I saw that Drake May kid complete a pass with no pads. I'm like, I'm finally seeing what everybody else is seeing in him. This kid's got it, man. No, the only way I tuned in, the only reason I tuned in is because I bet over 88.5 for a final score. And it was like that happened like early third quarter. That was easy money.
Yeah.
I should probably not even bet the Super Bowl. Why don't I go out on a bang? There was like 160 points scored. It was terrific. That's my last bet of the year, in fact.
Yeah, we got lacrosse references in this game. We got like some double passes. There was a whole lot going on. If you didn't watch the Pro Bowl, you missed out. But speaking of meaningless games, let's get the first Tate and let's talk about this one, Sal. They call it the greatest rivalry in sports. They say it delivers every single year. You hear Jay Billis say it. And on Saturday night, Sal, much to my chagrin, they did not deliver. This game was over about 5 minutes into the game. How much did you watch of the Carolina-Duke game? And what did you think about what you saw? Felt like JV versus varsity from my vantage point.
This one I watched all of, or at least most of. And is this even a rivalry anymore, Tate? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's right. When Coach K lost in the Final Four, a lot of people thought it was over. So maybe
it's very sad. At least cover the spread, Tate. They lost by 17. Cooper Flagg. I felt like it was a Cooper Flagg flex moment. Oh, we're gonna introduce you to this. He played 38 minutes. That's the FU game they needed, and they got to get close to a triple-double. But I actually think this rivalry ended when your Tar Heels went to Cameron and beat the Dukies in Coach K's last game, right? Yeah. I mean, nothing else matters, Tate, right? It doesn't get better than that.
I'm going to hold on to that, but right now it does not feel good, Sal. And,
your team stinks.
Tough defeat and a tough loss. And, my parents are watching Baby Billy on Righteous Gemstones to try to forget about the sorrows of their loss on Saturday night. So
does he coach? He seems like a good leader, Baby Billy.
Maybe they hire him. Maybe they call Walton Goggins and get him in. Another thing that's happening in basketball, thankfully for Carolina basketball, is the biggest trade maybe in NBA history. That's what they're saying. I say to you, Sal, first Tate here. Mavs general manager Nico Harrison is now the most hated man in Dallas. He traded Luka to the Lakers in the dark of a Saturday night. Sal, did you not see this?
I hadn't heard. Yeah.
You hadn't seen this? This is not good for Nico Harrison. The people of Dallas, they are starting to bring out their pitchforks, and they are going to American Airlines Center, Sal, and they're looking for Nico Harrison. It's not good.
Yeah, it's not good, and he has to be the most hated man. And you said most hated man in Dallas, and I was thinking about, Jerry Jones must be happy about this. And I'm like, oh, no, wait. He's got to step it up now, right? He can't have a contemporary outshine him. So now I'm worried that he's going to do something even more ridiculous, like trade Dak Prescott for Justin Tucker and 3 lawsuits to be named later. I don't know what he's got. I have no idea what he's got up his sleeve. I'm actually more worried now than I was about the one-upsmanship that's going to yield in Jerry's world.
Yeah, Jerry said this town's not big enough for the both of us, Nico. You got to get out of here. So we'll see what happens. I think that's a very good point. Last first tape before we get to my favorite game. I say to you, Sal, the referees in the Super Bowl are destined to fail us again in this game. There's that meme going around with all them stretching the refs before the AFC Championship game, and people were joking like the guy's getting ready to piss off half of America. They're ready to do it again, Sal. I feel like the officials are going to get the blame. The narrative is already built. How do you feel about this going into the Super Bowl?
Yeah, it sucks. It does feel that way. People now will watch this game for the commercials and to pounce on the refs. And I hate that. It's a loser mentality, Tate.
Yes.
And I hope you don't adopt that. Mahomes is going to get a close call, okay? And unless you're willing to dismiss all the Jordan rules and invalidate the 6 or so Bulls championships, then you have to live with it because that's just how it is. And honestly, I watch all these games. I don't think there was one game that the Chiefs were completely outplayed in that they should have lost but for the refs. So everyone just shut up. And yes, unfortunately, you're right. They are destined to fail, these refs.
Also, refs have the worst job in sports across the board, Sal. If you go to a Little League game, the officials, the umpires, whoever it is, they're getting berated by parents. Every single level. I don't know why you would ever sign up to be a referee. That's all I'm saying. They're a bold type of personality to want to be an official because everybody inevitably is going to hate you at some point during a game. And these guys sign up to do it.
I thought Mavericks public relations guy or gal has the worst job in sports, but you might be right. Yeah.
Yeah, they're up there. We'll see. Maybe they have a little battle there to figure it out. Now let's play my favorite game. Let's call it up over under reaction. Sal, I give you a statement. You tell me if it's an over and under reaction. Let's start with New Orleans, the city that is hosting the Super Bowl this week. I say, Sal, New Orleans is the undisputed best city to host the Super Bowl. Over or under reaction.
Well, I'm here now. You can see I'm here now.
Yeah,
I was able to break
have it.
away.
Boots on the ground.
Oh, man, this is all right. I'll say under reaction. To me, the measure of the best Super Bowl city begins and ends with how much vomit fills the streets from Thursday to Sunday.
And luckily, House Eats is happening again. So they're
right. I'm going to contribute probably in the form of fried oysters, not alcohol. But, Las Vegas is perfect, too, because of the symbolism. It's the most bet-on event in the world. So having the Super Bowl there is great, too. But I was watching highlights, Tate, this weekend of the Cowboys' 52-17 trouncing of the Buffalo Bills. My favorite game, Super Bowl of all time, any sport, really. I'd bring the Rose Bowl back in rotation. Watching those highlights of beautiful, picturesque background in Pasadena, legendary stadium. Cowboys can't lose that. So you got some options, but all right, I'll give it to you for New Orleans.
Yeah, New Orleans is just a great city to host an event in general. Everybody has a good time. They had the Final Four in 2022. North Carolina knocked off Coach K, had all the Blue Bloods in the building, Kansas, North Carolina, Duke, Villanova. They just know what they're doing down there in NOLA. So shout out to them. Will be a fun week at the Super Bowl. Next up, Sal, Belichick is correct. We should name the Super Bowl trophy after Tom Brady. Over or under reaction. No Lombardi no more.
All right. All right. I'm going to say overreaction. And I don't like defending Bill Belichick so much, but I was actually listening when he said this. He was backed into a corner, right? So someone was saying it was Jim Gray, and he was asking him about coaching and how he could do it and how he was able to win all those Super Bowl. And for some reason, he said, the point was the coaches are just coaches. They don't influence the game like players do. That's what Belichick said. And then he went through the roster of Patriots players who are responsible for all the championships. I don't believe for a second that he believes that. I mean, why would he ever ask for a raise if he didn't think coaches mattered? But right. I will say underreaction. At some point, Tom Brady, way more successful than Vince Lombardi. I'd be okay with making the change. Or name it after Mike Lombardi. Vince has had the honor too long.
That's what I'm saying. I think we can keep it Lombardi. We just update who the Lombardi is.
You're right.
And we'll go with Michael Lombardi. That would be a good one. Next up, Sal. This year's coin toss is a coin toss. Over or under reaction. Your thoughts?
Underreaction. I mean, I did a lot of research on this, and it really is up in the air, literally. I mean, it could go either way. 3 of the last 4, I believe, have gone heads. It was tails in the last KC-Philly game. But why is it minus 104 FanDuel Sportsbook? Give us a break as valued customers. Why should we have to pay VIG on a freaking coin toss? Can I get a bet boost on the coin toss to plus 105? Something. Yeah,
right. Because everybody's betting the coin toss. It's a fun bet to have, but we need something, right, to incentivize us to get in on the action. Yeah, I'm right there.
Put it in a parlay and you get it for plus 105. That might be one of my best ideas ever, or get me fired. One or the other.
There you go. FanDuel, call up Cousin Sal and get his insight right now. Next up, Sal, I say to you, Nick Sirianni, Eagles head coach, will once again cry during the national anthem. Over or under reaction?
This is another one I like on FanDuel Sportsbook. I'm going to say under reaction. In some places you could bet if the best actress winner will cry during her acceptance speech in the Oscars. Will the Bachelor, when proposing during the final rose ceremony, will he cry? I would like to be able to bet on that. Will Sirianni cry during the anthem? Just add it in there. And I think though he's going to be cautious of it this year. And I think he's going to make sure Big Dom is there to tickle him under the armpit to be, absolutely sure he keeps it together as the fighter jets perform their flyover.
Yeah, maybe Big Dom catches the tear, you know what I mean? Like
right.
I don't know. There's something that's going to happen there.
Big Dom beats the crap out of the tears. Yeah.
Yeah, he fights him or protects him from his own tears. Next up, Sal, Buffalo wings are the king and an absolute must at every Super Bowl party. Over or under reaction? What say you?
I'm going to say, all right, I'll say underreaction. I mean, they are a must because it's American and it's why the chicken is our national bird, I think. I don't know what the hell it is, but the thing is, though, it is tough to eat. If you don't care about being a slop eater like me, it's fine. But if you like to stay clean, it is tough. You got to get the napkins. And by the end of the night, my betting tally sheet is stained with barbecue sauce, and I'm wiping my mouth with first touchdown props. I've gotten into lemon pepper wings, Tate. It's a little not as messy, super tasty. Try it this Sunday.
Yeah, lemon pepper wings. There you go. Some more advice there from Cousin Sal. Next up, the Eagles have better celebrity fans than the Chiefs. Whoa. Over underreaction, Sal.
You got Bradley Cooper, Kevin Hart, Rob McElhaney,
Mike Trout. Yeah.
Then on the other side, Taylor, Rudd, Stone Street, Riggle. I'm in a fantasy with Rudd, so I don't want to speak ill of him. I'm also in one with Taylor Swift, but sure, I'll say underreaction. Eagles fans are the worst behaved, though. So they really should have the most troublesome celebrities, right? I think they have Will Smith already, so that counts. But they really should have like Britney Spears and Johnny Depp and Kanye. I mean, Rob McElhaney hasn't racked up as much as a parking ticket. It makes no sense for him to be an Eagles fan.
Right. All the Eagles super fans are two good guys. You know, they're good guys. Yeah. Kevin Hart, Rob McElhaney, Bradley Cooper's making cheesesteaks in New York for the people, right? They're all two good guys. And the celebrities on the other side, I think they don't even want to win this, right? As the Philly guys, they want to be the underdog. So we'll give it to Kansas City.
They want the referees to screw up so they could let the death threats fly.
Yeah. Yes, right. Nico Harrison and the referees in the Super Bowl are going to be under watch moving forward. Next up, Sal, there are over 3.5 future Hall of Fame players in this big game. Over or underreaction?
I'm doing some quick. I'm going to say overreaction. I'm going to say Mahomes, Kelsey.
Right.
Saquon's got a little work, but I think he gets there. I'm not giving it to Hurts just yet. And the fact that Jason Kelsey's no longer on the team makes me think this could remain at 3. I'm going to go under just to be a jerk. You know, we're not including Andy Reid, right? It's just players, you said, right?
Yeah, right. And Tom Brady would be upset about this because he did say Saquon will be in the Hall of Fame, which I guess you gave Saquon the nod.
That's 3. That's sure.
3. Yeah. So
Chris Jones has like 80 sacks. He could be close to. I'm staying under. I'm going to stay under.
Stay under. Next up, Sal, Kendrick Lamar will bring out Lil Wayne as a surprise guest. Over or underreaction. A lot of controversy about Lil Wayne not being asked to perform in New Orleans. Over or underreaction.
Yeah. I'll say underreaction. You're right. Probably Lil Wayne from New Orleans. Some question that he was snubbed when it came down to announcing Kendrick Lamar as the halftime performer. Wayne should come out if he does with a diss track on the NFL for snubbing him. Call out Goodell, challenge Big Dom to a slap fight. I think that would be the mature way to go.
Yeah, that'll be perfect. I think that'll be good. Next up, Sal, this year's Nipplegate will feature Jason Kelsey shirtless in the Taylor Swift suite. Say that 3 times. Over underreaction.
I'm not even going to say it once. Underreaction. I hope so. What a treat that would be for everyone. I think ratings for his talk show would skyrocket too. Did you even know he had a talk show?
I did know he had a talk show. And we've had streakers before at the Super Bowl. We had one back in 2003, 2004. That was the same year that Janet Jackson had the original Nipplegate. So
it's crazy. That's 21 years ago. And I was at the game, so I didn't even know about it until we got back to the hotel room. It's one of the pitfalls of going to the game and not having wireless to check your phone. So
it is crazy. It was a totally different time, even though, like you said, it was just 21 years ago. Crazy stuff. Next up, the Saints should operate this season without a head coach. A new model, Sal. Over or underreaction?
You know, I'm going to say underreaction. It's looking like they could do this. You know, Mike McCarthy was like, no thanks. Mikey Meatballs and I and Babyface Joel Solomon, producers, are here in New Orleans. We're ready for a meeting. If you want to come to the Acme Oyster House, that's where we do our best work. We'll get interviewed. No, you know, I'd like to see it, Tate. Like, how much worse would it be if they had a good OC, a good DC, and then like a 14-year-old who plays expert level Madden to decide clock management issues and when to go for 2 and stuff like that?
Who's a super
the Saints
fan?
Be worse? Would they be worse than they were? I can almost guarantee
the Doogie Howser of football. You know what I mean? You just get some kid standing over there making the calls, calling the shots. Everyone can't get mad at him because he's a kid. I think it's a good. I think it's a genius idea. It's
Bill Belichick said coaching doesn't matter, Tate. So they're doing the right thing, the Saints.
Last one in my favorite game, Sal. I say, Sal, you will lose over $240 during your Radio Row prop challenge. Over or underreaction? Do you feel like this is going to happen?
I'm going to say overreaction. This is fun. Every year I'm at Radio Row. I'm there right now. Again, don't let this fool you. I engage celebrities and sports media personalities and players in competitions. Michael Penix completed a pass to me. He got $20. I arm wrestled Carrot Top and lost. He got $20. What else happened? Josh Allen named 10 flavors of buffalo wings in 30 seconds. He got $20. So I'm going to say overreaction. We're making the challenges a little tougher this year. Best wishes to all the Radio Roadies.
Oh, it's the best. And Radio Row, I mean, you've never seen products, sharked around like that kind of setting. And it is, you get an interview with Vince Young and they're like, the first 3 minutes have to be about, Domino's Pizza. You're like, I got to talk to Vince Young about Domino's Pizza before I can actually have an interview. But it's a lot of fun. Sal, you're the best at that kind of stuff. So I'm excited to see what you guys figure out there in New Orleans. Let's call up the Riverboat captain. I'm sure he's going to be in NOLA for the Super Bowl. He's got a question he wants to ask. And this one is a simple one, Sal. Which NFL personality would you most want to party with at the Super Bowl? We got the odds in front of us. Rob Gronkowski, Gronk, still the favorite. Shout out to Gronk, 3-1. We got Broadway Joe Namath, 10-1. Donna Kelsey, 25-1. My guy Sir Purr, 100-1 in the field. Purr. The field at even odds. What do you say, Sal? Who do you want to party with down in New Orleans?
Sir Purr is ridiculous. I don't like cats. I'm allergic. Let's see. Namath, I feel like I'd be carrying him around trying to avoid getting slapped. Gronk is too much for me on Bourbon Street. I need a taser that's constantly charged. I'm going to go off the board, Tate, and say Shaq. Have you heard of this guy?
Yeah,
he's always
Shaq.
The answer, isn't he? Super fun, super funny. He's a prankster. We'd be whipping Mardi Gras beads at unsuspecting people's rear ends all weekend. He'd carry me on his shoulders on Bourbon Street because I wouldn't have to step on, drunken, passed out bodies. I like it. If we got in trouble, he's an honorary cop, right? He's been deputized, so he'd get us out of hot water, and he could eat with the best of them every night. Jambalaya eating contest. Shaq's my answer. What do you
love that. And Shaq is going to be comfortable. We played at LSU. He knows the people down there. He knows how to maneuver New Orleans. DJ Diesel is his artist name, so maybe he puts on a DJ performance for everybody in the building. I think that's a great call. I'm going to go with Archie Manning. I'm just going to go with the old, kind of guard here, a guy who knows the city really well. Feels like Archie could, take you to a nice golf course, play some golf, also take you out to a nice dinner, and then he'd be like, you boys go have some fun. And then you're outside, you're partying with Arch Manning and the rest of the Manning brothers. So I think that would be a great time.
That'd be great. You'll be in bed by 4:30 p.m. every day. Yeah,
that sounds like a lovely, nice time down at the Super Bowl. So Sal will be there in New Orleans if you can't tell by his backdrop. And stay tuned though. Stay right there. We'll be right back on the other side of the break. We got more with Cousin Sal talking Super Bowl 59. Welcome back to Thru the Ringer. I'm here with Cousin Sal. And Sal, how's New Orleans treating you right now? I know you're fired up to be down there.
I could barely hear you. There's so much calamity going on around me. All right. I'll get you the beads in a second. Relax. Oh, it's just nutty. Nutty is all out.
I can't wait for you to go get some beignets at Cafe Du Monde and do all the many things that you need to do on Bourbon Street. But we're happy that we have you here because we got to talk about some best bets that we need to make for Super Bowl 59. If you're not keeping up, Cousin Sal and Bill Simmons just put together a great prop spectacular. Go listen to that on the Bill Simmons podcast. But let's start here. Line look ahead. Jersey number of the first score in Super Bowl 59. The line is at 15.5. Sal, what do you like here as we forecast and look ahead to Super Bowl 59?
Yeah, and as you said, I apologize already because I gave a lot of these out on Simmons' podcast. If you fast forward 45 minutes past Luka talk, and then I have to talk about it for another 6 minutes with him. And then there's something about his dog throwing up for another 7 minutes. I don't know.
Oh, wow.
You'll get there eventually.
We went from one orifice to the other one. We went from the diarrhea to the throat.
It's a lot. Yeah. I like, I'm very highbrow, Tate. You know that. Yes, jersey number, over under 15.5. So that's Mahomes. Mahomes is 15. They put it at that for a reason. Convenient. I'm going over 15.5. Now you lose the quarterbacks. You lose Mahomes. You lose Hurts. I think you lose Devonta Smith and you lose A.J. Brown, but he's reading anyway. But you can get almost every defensive player. You get Barkley, you get Goddard, you get Travis Kelce, you get Kareem Hunt. I said you get Peyton Hendershot. That's great. I like the overs. I like just having Barkley, Kelce combo for about even odds. So that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I like that as well. It's minus 120 if you take the over here, but I think having Kelce, if I close my eyes and imagine what the first touchdown is, I either see a Travis Kelce touchdown catch, or I close my eyes and I see a Saquon Barkley touchdown run. So and both those guys, if you don't know their jersey numbers, they're over 15, Sal. So I like over.
I know. I just closed my eyes and saw Hurts on a tush push. Can I change mine to no, I like over. I think we get a run of overs. McCaffrey, what's he, 23? He was over last year, and CD Lamb, big 88. He's going to be over next year. This will be nice.
it's fun to pull for the over, even though the odds aren't really there on your favor. But regardless, you can take the over there. Let's do another one. Line look ahead, another fun prop. This is one that everybody likes to go back to and discuss. Then actually did some research on this, Sal. The Gatorade bass started back in 1984 with Bill Parcells and the Giants. So shout out to them. But line look ahead, Gatorade color. What do you like with this Super Bowl? A lot of people talking about purple, Sal, just because of the Chiefs. Do you like purple this year?
Count me in with purple. It's down to plus 200. It was plus 220 now. The Chiefs' last 2 wins, they doused Andy Reid with purple Gatorade. I don't know why they would want to rock the boat, right? Then there's also the Kobe's been gone 5 years. He's purple. He's a Philly guy. That could have been it. Kendrick Lamar has this Easter egg thing going, and his rider maybe he asked for that the Gatorade be purple. Who knows? But got Grimace and the Mets. What a great year. Plus this eggplant emoji is very popular. I have no idea why. So purple. That's what I would say, Tate.
Yeah, that goes back to the maturity of Cousin Sal. We all learned a lot.
I did it again. I really did.
With that eggplant.
By the way, Tate, that's probably the greatest thing the Giants have ever done. I hate that team, but the dumping Gatorade on a no-nonsense coach like Bill Parcells took cojones. It really did. And it's stuck ever since. So good for the Giants.
Good for the Giants. Also, it's funny to think Bill Belichick was standing over there as he saw the Gatorade bath, and he was thinking to himself, coaches don't matter. What a time it was back in 1984. I like the purple picks out. Like you said, the number is trending up as people start to figure out that that's what the Chiefs have done in the past. So plus 200. I'm going to go with yellow. I just think that the Eagles may sneak one in and win this, and apparently they always have yellow Gatorade. They like yellow Gatorade. That's what they go for. So I'm just going to take the swing here, plus 220 to get yellow Gatorade and take the Eagles. So a little tip of the cap there that I like the Eagles in this game, which is very fortunate for the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's do another line look ahead. The Super Bowl Sal special. You can find this on FanDuel Sportsbook right now. Sal, what do you like? Are you going to play the Sal special, or are you just going to break down what the Sal special is and why you could lean one way or the other?
Well, let me break it down. I have to play it because if it hits and I don't get it in the last game of the year, what a fraud I am, right? But no, and so the Sal special is one team wins the first half, the other team wins the second half. I did it with the Steelers. I called it the Steel City special. They hit 4 times at good odds. You usually get between 7 and 9 to 1 odds. So if you got Chiefs opponent first half, Chiefs win game, that's also done well this year. Eagles first half, Chiefs to win game plus 750. Chiefs have been down at half the last 2 years in the Super Bowl and then won the game. So plus 750 is nice. Take it the other way too. Chiefs first half, Eagles to win the game, plus 800. So long as it's close and it's not a tie at half, you have a fun rooting interest for the last 30.
All right, so there you have it. The Sal City special, the Sal Super Bowl special, whatever you want to call it. It's a good bet there, and I like it. Eagles win first half, Chiefs win game. I like that one, plus 700. You can find that again at FanDuel Sportsbook. And the line is moving. The line is fluid because there's so many people that are listening to Sal and Bill Simmons on their podcasts, and they're getting in on all these great bets.
I would keep doing it. Keep pounding that bet. If it gets down to 261, then run away from it. But I think you're good any other number.
Everywhere else, I think you'll be good. Let's do another line look ahead. Favorite prop for the Super Bowl. Sal, what's your favorite prop? I know you've talked about a lot of props, but which one is your favorite? Which one is your favorite game, so to speak?
All right. I'm tag teaming this with Brother Bry from Against All Odds podcast because he loves this and he's loved this every year. And it didn't hit last year, which makes me think it's definitely going to. Shortest touchdown, under 1.5 yards, Tate. It's very viggy. It's minus 172. But if I had one bet to make, it would be this one. The last time these two met up in the Super Bowl, it happened twice that there was a 1-yard plunge. It happened twice versus San Francisco when Kansas City played him in the first game. It's happened in 4 of the last 5 Super Bowls. It's happened in 7 of the last 9 Super Bowls. Or if you just want to take Hurts to score, miraculously, that number is still minus 115, minus 120. And I think he scored from 1 yard in 10 of the last 13 games. So, that style of play, that tush push is completely set up for this specific prop. So go under 1.5 yards or go Hurts touchdown, I think.
I think that's a guaranteed right there. The brotherly shove will be a focal point of this game, and I do feel like that is you and Brother Bry, your sharps right there. Minus 225, you can take that one. I'm going to go opening kickoff to not be a fair catch. You can get this number at plus 186. The reason that I think this is more of a big brain conspiracy about the NFL, they changed the kickoff rules. There were some people that were kind of eye roll at the start of the season. This isn't the football that I like to watch. But I do think that in the Super Bowl biggest stage, the kickoff rules have changed. changed. They're going to put put in whatever they need to make sure that the first team returns the kick and everyone says, see, people return the kick still. The rule worked. It still works. And we've had touchdowns on the kickoff.
Interesting.
So I think it's a big picture play here. Plus 186, Sal. I think someone returns the opening kickoff.
I think that's not, I mean, it wouldn't be nice if they return the opening kickoff. That's not asking a lot. And then you could just go and get drunk and not have to watch the rest of the game. You win your bet. But there is one little wrinkle to this, which is different from any other kickoff. In the Super Bowl kickoff, there's like 75,000 flashes going off. So the returner might be like, yeah, I wanted to return this thing, but I can't see a goddamn thing. I'm now blinded temporarily for the next 15 seconds. So I'm just going to let it fall through the end zone. But be careful of that.
Let's track to the future. Let's think about this because we've done our Super Bowl talk. Let's talk about the NBA because they're trying to take over this news cycle as we saw with the Luka Doncic trade. And now we have a fun track to the future here, Sal. Dallas Mavericks to make the playoffs. Yes, minus 142. No, plus 116. What do you like, Sal? Is there a play here after the trade?
Yeah, well, listen, they got rooked for sure, and it might not make any sense depending on who you listen to saying that this doesn't make sense. There's really now like a 700 media member. I don't get it. This doesn't make sense.
Make the quote card.
I can't even speculate why this is the case. You know, there's a lot of good content out there, but the truth is they might have gotten ripped off, but Anthony Davis and Kyrie, that's a good matchup, right? Isn't that still?
And Klay Thompson. Yeah,
and Klay Thompson. Like they could still. So I'm going to take a chance with the yes, minus 134. They're 3 games over San Antonio in the 9th spot. Sacramento should drop now. San Antonio will go up because of the trade probably for Fox. Plus, I think Dallas could make another trade. They could even get a trade to get Luka back when they decide Anthony Davis is damaged goods when he can't get through TSA without spraining his ankle. So just turn him around, put him on the next flight back to LAX. So I'm going to go with yes, minus 134, even though this GM has tanked the playoff spot a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I was going to say Nico Harrison better be praying that they make the playoffs. He better be hammering that bet right there. So he needs him to make the playoffs. Let's do another line look ahead. College hoops play of the day. These are games that are going to be happening on a Wednesday. Sal, we're doing all right. We're trying to figure out what's happening in college basketball.
You're better than I am. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm trying, but what do you like this week? Yeah, who do you like this week?
By the way, I lost with Notre Dame. They were up 12. Remember how much I hated Miami? Miami was so bad. And Saturday night, they freaking win after being down 12 because I had Notre Dame. Anyway, I'm going to take Syracuse over Duke. Duke, I don't know if you saw, they beat their arch rival by 17 Saturday night. Now they have to travel to Syracuse through that miserable winter. Oh, those roads, just thinking about it makes me sick. Cooper Flag, maybe lost a little in that Carrier Dome. I don't know what's going to happen. So good spot for the Orange, who have not been great, but they've been competitive over the last few games. They just beat Cal. They played Pitt tough. They're 7-3 against the spread in the last 10. Starling solid. Lucas Taylor came to life last game. I'm grabbing a bunch of points, taking Syracuse plus the number as an underdog.
Yeah, I like the points there, and Red Autry needs something positive, so maybe they can get some sort of like, Syracuse Duke used to have the rivalry with Boeheim and K. Maybe they conjure something up there, and they're able to cover that one. I'm going to take Stanford over Wake Forest. Just a weird, Pac-12. We just saw it with Michigan State playing USC out here. It's like whenever these cross-conference games happen, I just feel like weird things happen. Stanford's a really good team. Right now, looks like he could be ACC Player of the Year if it wasn't for Cooper Flag existing, so he's a really good player. So I like Stanford over Wake Forest. Wake Forest survived against Pitt, probably should have lost that game, so they're riding a little bit too high, a little too close to the sun. So I'll take the Cardinal. That's right, the Cardinal, no S in that game.
I like that. All right, so, Baby Doll's going to be upset. I'm on the board at Wake Forest. I don't need Tate putting bad juju out there, but whatever.
Hey. I'm sorry, Baby Doll. I do like Wake Forest. I went to their basketball camp for a few years. Good times. Last thing, Sal, before we let you go, let's do the Tate debate. I have to say this to you, and I just want to talk to you about this because I don't know what to do.
Let's talk. What's the matter?
Yeah, let's figure it out. I said we have yet to perfect the Super Bowl viewing experience. I don't know if you go to the party, you're talking about commercials and you're small talking, you can't really watch the game. Part of our job is watching the game, talking about the game. If you stay at home, people are like, you're antisocial. You don't want to go watch the Super Bowl with all of us. So I don't really know where you're supposed to watch the Super Bowl. I don't know how you're supposed to do it. So I say to you, we haven't figured it out yet. So I think we still have some work to do on this whole Super Bowl viewing experience. So.
I think you're right. Yeah, Bill Burr does a whole thing on how they're the worst Super Bowl parties because it's mostly people who don't want to watch football, which ironically is what the Super Bowl itself is. Lots of corporate comps going out there. So you don't get a ton of fans. You get fans, but it's not filled with fans. Yeah, I think it's got to be a small gathering. You're right. You don't want to look like a loser and watch at home alone, but I don't want to be there with 150 people and everybody asking me, so plus 1.5. That means the Eagles have to, if they don't win by 2, it's like, no, I can't stand that. I'm also checking my 190 bets over and over, pretending to listen to how my aunt made her 7-layer dip. So I think there should be 2 rooms, a commercial room for dorks who want to discuss Meg Ryan's fake orgasm. And, and then when the Harry Met Sally reboot, and then the reboot of the Chiefs Eagles 2 years ago that people want to watch. So that's what I think. You enter the house, you decide if you're a commercial or a game person.
I like that. You walk into the house, you say, this is the small talk room, this is the ball talk room. You can go to ball talk, you do small talk, but you decide, and they do not cross over. And if you walk into the room where we're all watching football and you start bringing up Jeremy Strong, that now we're going full circle. If you bring up Jeremy Strong in the Dunkin' Donuts commercial, we don't want to hear it because we're in the ballroom.
Say goodbye at the end of the night. Yeah. Say hello before the game. Team go daddy here. Team go for it on 4th down here.
Right. Yeah. That's great. I like that.
Yeah, I figured it out for us, Tate.
Yeah, there we go. The Tate debate has been solved by Cousin Sal. Sal, where can we find all your work for Super Bowl week? And then we'll let you go enjoy your trip to New Orleans.
Cousin Sal's winning weekend at the end of the week. That'll be Friday. We're going to have, I think I'm going to interview Jaden Daniels. I think I'm going to interview Fred Warner. I think I'm going to interview Carissa Thompson. I think. Who the hell knows? I'm here in New Orleans. Crazy already. And then the Ringer pregame show on Sunday. We'll go over all the props and everything there is to say.
I can't wait. We will be tuned in. We will be locked in. I hope you get all those interviews because I will be watching all of them. Cousin Sal, you're the best. We appreciate you coming on the show. We will talk to you once you get back from the Super Bowl. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after the break. We got Woz in the building, and we're going to talk about Luka Doncic. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Thru the Ringer. Joining us now, you know him from the Ringer NBA show. He is back on the show. We got Big Woz in the building. Woz, good to see you, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. Happy to be on. Obviously, a crazy, busy, insane last few days in the NBA here. But I'm here, man. I'm ready.
Yeah, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, they're on the Kings again. De'Aaron Fox is going to be playing with Victor Wembanyama, and none of that matters because we got to talk about the biggest trade maybe in sports that we've seen. Luka Doncic, a man in his prime, a 5-time All-NBA player, just got traded in the dark of a Saturday night under whispers, and it shocked people. I was watching the Gonzaga-St. Mary's basketball game. They cut into the broadcast, and they're like, hey, by the way, in the NBA, Luka Doncic just got traded for Anthony Davis. Woz, where were you when you found out, and what were your thoughts when you heard this?
Man, I actually had an event. Me and my partners, we threw an event on Saturday, Must Be Nice, at Neuer House in Hollywood, and somebody passed me the phone, and I clicked on the tweet, and I'm like, okay, this says Shams, and it has a check mark next to it. But I'm like, no, this is the Shams with millions of followers. This is it. This literally just happened, and I just was in shock. I just started reeling. I was just like, wait, what? Wait, how? Like, why? Like, how do you even convince yourself to do this? And you know, initially I was just like, yo, maybe, because I had heard that I heard this, and I've potted about it too, that the reason the Lakers were very reluctant to like go all in on LeBron and AD and just kneecap their future is because they're like, yo, we're gonna get the next great Laker here at some point, and we don't want our future to be just completely handicapped by trying to preserve whatever Bron and AD have left. And so I was like, maybe Luka told them like he wanted to one day be a Laker. And so they preempted it and almost like, you can't fire me, I quit type of situation. But the more you talk to people, man, the more I've talked to people and gotten some, you know, more clarity and you know, listening to other people and reading other people that are in the know, it seems like this was not some preemptive move. It seems like Dallas's management had become completely dissatisfied by Luka Doncic and traded him, which is absolutely, unequivocally the wrong thing to do. I will never get over this. Promise you.
Yeah. You said you talk to people. You don't need to talk to anybody, Woz. You can just listen to Nico Harrison, the GM of the Mavericks. Dude. He is going to tell you exactly what he was thinking, why he did it, as Jason Kidd sits next to him and is looking at him like, Are you serious right now? Like, he starts the press conference kind of joking a little bit. The jokes did not land. Obviously, the Dallas media, Tim Cowshaw wrote a great piece in the Dallas Morning News about the nightmare scenario that this is. It does feel like this was a trade that you make on NBA 2K and you tell your friends about it and they say, man, that was really dumb. And then you reflect on it and you're like, yeah, that wasn't a good idea. But this is real life. It did happen. These guys are friends, Pelinka and Nico Harrison. They made the deal without telling anybody. And it was a deal as it got out to the public and other executives and people started to weigh in that they're like, this is an insane deal. This is a steal for the Los Angeles Lakers. And Nico Harrison seems to be pumping his chest a little bit. He says defense wins championships. They were kind of past the point of no return with Luka, but this is the guy who won the scoring champion. He was the scoring champion of the league last year. He got you to the finals last year. You had a top 12 defense with him down the stretch run last season. All these things just happened and Dallas Mavericks fans just watched it, Woz. So how do we get to a point where management is so far away from what the fans felt? Like, how do we get this far of a gap where this happens?
So, look, I'm not here to defend Nico Harrison's position or decision making. I wholly agree with all of this. The process, the trade, the line of thinking that Luka Doncic is somehow an inessential piece to a championship equation. Like, I'm opposed to all of it. But look, if you're going to defend Nico Harrison here and his thought process is, one, it's like this guy doesn't have the most disciplined off-season conditioning regimen. Often comes into camp overweight, often playing himself into shape. It's possible that you could take the position that these nagging calf injuries and stuff like that are a direct result of his lack of conditioning and his body having to overcompensate.
Soft tissue injuries, right?
Yes.
Those are the ones, right?
His body having to overcompensate in certain type of ways because of his lack of conditioning that's leading to these nagging injuries. And, you know, the idea that you are staring down the barrel of a $350 million 5-year deal for this guy next offseason, right? And the idea that, like, if a guy cannot be available, if you can't count on him to take his conditioning seriously, if you don't think he's, you know, living up to his duties as the ultimate franchise player, then you need to be out of that business. But the problem with that line of thinking is everything that you just stated before, Tate. They went to the finals last year with Luka Doncic. They lost to an offensive juggernaut, all-time, like, one-of-a-kind offensive team, like the likes of which we'll probably never see again in terms of the Boston Celtics. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who everybody basically agrees is probably the second best player in the league if it's not Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic outplayed him head-to-head in their series in the playoffs last year. Luka Doncic he's 5 straight first-team All-NBAs. He's 25 years old. Again, you could have just signed this dude in the offseason, see how it goes, eventually say, you know what, I'm tired of this. I don't like the way Luka comports himself as a superstar. I'm doing a Luka Doncic auction, and the highest bidder, you guys can have Luka. Good riddance. We're done with this. But
and like, you get more back, Woz, because he's already signed.
100%.
Right.
Because this guy is signed to a long-term deal, you can extract more value from a potential trade. But it seems like this all just happened on a really personal level. Feels like Nico.
Feels like a dinner gone wrong for Dallas Mavericks fans, right? I mean, dude, he described it that way. He said Pelinka was like, would you ever? And then he was like, I started thinking, would I ever? and this is where we ended up. I do want to talk about Dallas. Obviously, there is the Lakers side of this, which is the Luka. They're celebrating. They're having a good time. But AD in Dallas, it is kind of fascinating when you look at the core of this group. It's all the number twos of, like we talked about, Curry versus LeBron always, right? But these are the quote-unquote number twos, but they're really number one talent. So now you have Kyrie, AD, and Klay all together playing in Dallas. It's giving me like Houston Rockets with Scottie Pippen, Charles Barkley flashbacks.
Exactly.
A little bit, but do they have a chance where they could make a run this year? And if they did make a run and say they won the championship, does that make the Luka trade less harsh of a feeling? Because right now it feels like nothing can salvage that feeling.
Look, this team would have been a sick lineup back in 2018 for sure. Okay? The problem for the Mavs is that it's 2025. They have absolutely no shot creation whatsoever outside of Kyrie Irving. Even AD, as much as I love him, as much as he's an all-NBA kind of player, he is more of a finisher than an initiator, right? And so he's not your, fulcrum of an elite offense. Give the ball to AD, get the hell out of the way, and nothing but, insane offensive efficiency is going to follow. He's a finisher. And so Kyrie is now shouldering all of the burden of shot creation on this team. And, again, like PJ Washington, I like Najee Martin. Like Spencer Dinwiddie has had a better showing as a backup this year than I would have liked. But, even if this team becomes, the best version of themselves, which is like some kind of defensive force, almost juggernaut.
Yeah, best front line in the
right
in
now.
The
Yeah, they
Conference,
become
right.
some, walling off the rim protecting, rebounding, offensive rebounding machine. They're just not going to be efficient enough on offense to make any real noise as a team. And I don't think they won't be a formidable, like a good team, but the ceiling of this team has clearly gone down, not up. I don't care what Nico Harrison has to say. You are not closer to winning a championship today than you were on Saturday before this trade.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back with Woz, we're actually going to talk about the Spurs and De'Aaron Fox and what that looks like for Wembanyama. We'll be right back with Woz right after the break. Welcome back to Thru the Ringer. We're here with Woz, and we just tried our best to make sense of the Luka Doncic trade to Los Angeles. That is real. That did happen. But there was also another big trade that happened. Victor Wembanyama, he's been looking for his running mate, and he finally gets it with De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox is now officially a San Antonio Spur. This, on paper, looks like a great fit. You get an all-star caliber player next to Wembanyama. They've sped up the timeline. They needed a point guard of the future to be with Victor Wembanyama. De'Aaron Fox, one of the best American point guards that we have. Woz, how do you feel about this trade?
I think it was obviously a no-brainer on the part of the Spurs. And if you're the Kings, you're bummed out, but also at the same time, what has the De'Aaron Fox era really borne for you? It's not as if you've reached the heights of the sports while you had him here. And if the guy says, look, I want to hitch my wagon in my career to Victor Wembanyama, who looks like he's going to be one of the best players in the history of our league, then, you got that done. I mean, I don't think the haul they got back was all that massive, but, if the sense is that this guy wasn't long for you, wasn't going to do an extension, which means eventually he would be out of your building, it's best to do the deal sooner rather than later. In terms of the Spurs, I think most people, when they talked about the downside of this idea, was that, why do this for a star of Fox's caliber if there might be better superstars that come available later down the road, especially considering that you're probably going to have to give this guy a maximum contract at some point here. Why do that instead of waiting and biding your time before with a different superstar? I think the Spurs did right by bringing Fox in, because even if you want to grant that the contract may be a little onerous, a little bit, because this guy's a bit of a fringe all-star type of talent, I think about it like Jamal Murray with Jokic. The contract is justified because my best player, who I'm now, my franchise is now anchored around, he lifts all boats. He's a rising tide that lifts everything. And I think De'Aaron Fox is going to be uplifted by playing around Wemby. And so that deal becomes a no-brainer because you turn yourself into a legitimate championship type of outfit once Wemby becomes the kind of player that pretty much everybody thinks that he's going to become. And so the deal is a no-brainer on the Spurs side. I heard people saying they should hold it out, stick it out for a better superstar, if you will. But to me, how often a superstar is going out of their way, or stars for that matter, saying, yo, I want to force my way to San Antonio. I believe in the program they have going on there. I want to be there long term. That never happens. And so a guy does that, you got to pounce on that and bring that dude into the building.
And you didn't give up too much, right?
They gave up nothing.
They gave up nothing, right? They gave up one first rounder. And I do feel like what Fox brings is that pace, which I feel like Victor Wembanyama obviously plays a little bit slower, likes to be in the half court. I think Fox is going to pick up the tempo a little bit, maybe make Wemby get more out on the break, primary break, secondary break, get him easier buckets. And that gets us into the territory where Wemby might have a 70-point game or something like that, because Fox is going to be able to get him more possessions in a game. Fox is a really terrific player. I'm a fan. I feel like he got a lot of blame for the issues in Sacramento. He obviously was frustrated by some of the finger pointing that was going on, so he gets a fresh start there with San Antonio. Looking forward to what that looks like. For the Kings, you now have a situation where DeRozan and Zach LaVine are back together. How funny was that interaction when those two guys are just like, everywhere I go, I keep running into you?
It's just hilarious that, we take the Bulls nucleus from several years ago and just poured it to Sacramento. Obviously, the pieces when it
they liked the tape, was they saw the tape of the Bulls. They were like, I like this team.
The circumstances are obviously different in terms of Sabonis being an all-star level kind of player. Monk is now going to be the on-ball guy. Keegan Murray has finally picked it up as the season has progressed. And, I think obviously the context for those two is better. I just don't think Sacramento has materially made their team much better. But they got LaVine for essentially a hill of beans. And so I can't really be too mad about you replacing, De'Aaron Fox's production with Zach LaVine. And, if you want to, you can scratch and say the production is comparable.
Slicing up the midseason pie, you guys did this. As you look at the landscape of the NBA right now, who do you think is the best team in the NBA? Obviously, there's a lot of people that think the Thunder, Celtics, maybe, you could throw in a lot of candidates, but who do you like, Waz, right now as it sits?
I'm still Celtics. I get it, the malaise and the swoon in January. To me, these guys, they've been to something like 5 or 6 straight conference finals. They went to the championship and won last year. These guys have been in so many important big time games, been in so many clutch situations. The idea that they're going to take games in January very seriously when these guys have the sort of institutional memory of what actual big games are. I'm not surprised that they've kind of cruised through January. They just want to get to the playoffs healthy. And to me, they're the clear still favorite. Tatum still having the best season of his career, top to bottom. The versatility, the problems, the matchup problems they present with that 5-out lineup, the switchability of their defense when they get this thing revving, when they have Jaylen Brown and Drew Holiday and Tatum and Derek White. I just think top to bottom, both sides of the ball, they're still the strongest club in the NBA. I find them to be the most trustworthy. And then, OKC is right there. I just think their youth is going to have them in some trouble come playoff time. But, I understand why people look at them as their favorite to win the championship ultimately this season.
I like it. I appreciate you coming on the show, Waz, as always. There's going to be a lot of good NBA storylines ahead. February 25th, people are already circling that game. Mavericks, Lakers. We'll see who plays in that one and what that looks like. Where can we find all your work here at The Ringer? And then we'll let you go enjoy the rest of your day, man.
Make sure you're checking out The Ringer NBA show, group chat, and Real Ones on The Ringer NBA podcast feed. Of course, check out In My Feelings on YouTube. And I'm Big Waz on every single social media platform known to man, including Blue Sky.
He is Waz. We appreciate you coming on the show, man, and we will be right back after the break. All right, there you have it, another edition of Thru the Ringer. We appreciate you tuning in to us here on FanDuel TV. Want to shout out Cousin Sal. Hope that Cousin Sal's winning weekend goes to different echelons down there in New Orleans for Super Bowl 59. Stay tuned in to all things FanDuel TV down from the Super Bowl. We're excited about that. Thanks to Waz for coming on the show talking NBA, and we will be back next week here on Thru the Ringer, and we'll see you then.